So this is a quick test between the Cretacolors and the Conté and the Faber Castell PITTs. First of all, I bought this charcoal set off of Amazon from Cretacolor. It's not very costly, but it does include a lot of different stuff such as white charcoal and sticks and knitted eraser and some other different things. So one of the big news from Cretacolor a few years ago was those series called Neo. Those here, but they contain graphite. So the softest of them is actually this one. And that's the extra soft, the 46101, which is this pencil here. And as you can see, it's not very dark, especially compared to the others. So let's move on from that. It's also got this typical problem where if you see it from different angles, you can see that it has a shine, especially down here. Now it appears very light or bright or more muddy gray, whereas if you see it from this angle, it's maybe not so bad. The black chalk is the stick that we have over here. It's brownish and it carries the ID 46012. It's very dark and it creates some very nice gradients when used with a thing like this, which is just one of those paper sticks. Yeah, but the problem with black chalk is that it's also very brittle. It's even more brittle than all the types of charcoal that I've used. The soft charcoal, the 46001, is this one. So it's still compressed charcoal in a pencil shape, and it's actually very, very good. I would say it ranks among the best that I've ever tried. The 26012 is one of the sticks over here. So let's just see if I can find that. What? 26012? It appears to be gone. No, sorry, that's this one. It came broken like this actually in the box. So yeah, I don't really mind that. I won't give a negative review for something like this because I just use it as is. It's also very nice and very dark, also very easy to control, but it doesn't have wood around it to protect it, hence the breakage here. So this is only, you can only sharpen this if you have sandpaper, which I do, but yeah, just something to keep in mind if you don't like that work routine. The 49401 would be the darkest of the sticks. The rounded sticks, the cylinder-shaped sticks, is this one. And it also behaves very nicely. Last, but definitely not least, is the 4702. And that's a big bar here. And as far as I have found, it's the best of them all. So, yeah. I didn't make those small twirlies with it because it's fairly hard to control the edge with a stick shaped like that. I guess it's very, very good for big surface areas where you want to fill in fast. Now for the Conté et Paris. It's a French brand, and I think most people know them by now. The series is called Pierre Noir, and I have them in 3 hardnesses: the hard, the bow, the B, and the 3B. So first of all comes the hard one, and let me just see if I can grab it here. Should be this one. And the hard one carries the ID 1710. It's not the darkest of them all, but it's very easy to control because it's so hard. It doesn't blend very well, so keep that in mind if you use the hard for making guidelines, that you shouldn't apply too much pressure because it can be hard to mix the guidelines in with the rest. Also in the Conté à Paris, to continue, it's the B. So all of these are also compressed charcoal. None of them are, for example, willow or anything. But this one behaves very nicely. It's much easier to smudge out and make a fluent gradient with. So yeah. And the 3B was surprisingly hard to make this little trick with. So I don't know what they did different. Maybe there's too much binding agent in it or what. But I actually prefer to use the B. There's no doubt that the 3B will leave more pigment on the paper, but for some reason it's harder to smudge out into nothing. So I tried it with water, and it behaves very nicely with water. It was just the generic brush I had lying around. I think it's meant for acrylics, and so it's not even a watercolor brush. So this is a lot of water used on the brush, and this is almost what you would call dry brushing if you use watercolors. And in both cases, it becomes much more controllable and make a much smoother gradient than without. From Faber Castell, I bought a set like this. So, sorry, let me just flip it around so you don't need to flip the video. This is the PITT charcoal set. It's bought in a local store, and it's actually, I'm pretty happy with it. Although, I go through it. Whoop! I caught it. No broken charcoal here. So I go through it pretty fast. But they were surprisingly good. I didn't expect the generic brand Faber Castell. I mean, I know they make pretty good quality overall. But I heard so much good about both Cretacolor and Conté that I thought, okay, for sure Faber Castell would be behind. But I actually find myself kind of preferring them. So what I'm most annoyed with is that I cannot find this one, which is the softest. I cannot find it as a standalone. So I'm still trying to investigate, because I live in Europe and I buy from the German Amazon. So maybe I have other options, but that's to be investigated. So first of all is the M version, which is this one. Oh, sorry, nope. Let me just, sorry, this one. And the good thing about the Faber Castell charcoal, the PITT charcoal series, is that they fit right into a normal pencil sharpener. I know that many people will say that don't do that with charcoal. You use a blade like this instead, and sharpen them with that. And I also tend to do that, especially when it's necessary. But if it's not, I prefer to use a normal pencil sharpener. So the M1 created a nice gradient, not super smooth, but still it's pretty easy to smooth out. So if you use it for guidelines, it's not super dangerous. It's like you can easily make those guidelines disappear just by using your typical makeup brush or your smudger like this, or whatever you prefer. The soft one, and you can see you go through that pretty fast. Just a quick comparison for the two. They were the same length when I got them, but this one is actually very soft. I would say that it's probably more like a 3B than just a B. Well, it's called S, so it's not really comparable with the B. Yeah, it smoothes out very nicely, and it certainly delivers a pitch black. So I like it a lot. Now they also have these sticks in the set, and the softest of those is this one. It probably also contains a binding agent. It definitely feels like it does. So, and forgive me my handwriting up here. It's, yeah, well, I'm not the best at writing with big sticks like that. It smooths out very nicely. It's very reminiscent of the one up here, except I do prefer the pencil form factor instead of the stick form factor. I guess that's up to preference. But yeah, that was all. No matter which one you have, I will say that they're all very, very good. I did find that the Conté don't behave nicely. They don't play nicely on all types of paper. This type of paper, they are pretty okay with. And just to show what kind of paper it is, I used. It's just a generic sketchbook. It's meant for pencil. It's acid-free, which it always should be for artist purposes, because many of those that contain acid will bleed out the colors from both markers and crayons and stuff like that. So Here it's 200 GSM, and yeah, it's A3 format, contains 40 sheets. It's not very expensive paper. This is definitely on the very cheap side. I do have more expensive paper, and curiously enough, the Conté don't behave nicely on all of them. So that's also something to keep in mind, but when they do behave nicely, I like them a lot. The Cretacolor are fairly consistent. There are some types of paper where I don't quite like all of them. And the Faber Castell, well, they are very good for all types of paper that I've tried and all kinds of purposes that I've tried. The only drawback, as I said before, is that I cannot find this sold as a single. And that's an issue because when you buy a set like this, you don't go through it all at the same speed. Yeah. So the sticks over here, you will definitely have them for a longer time than this one if you use it, which I do. So until I can find this as a single, I don't think I will really be recommending the Faber Castell PITT, other than you can try it. But the problem is if you love it and you find yourself wanting more of this exact pencil, and if you're like me and you cannot find it as a standalone, that becomes an issue. So buying this set is not expensive. It's just that doing it every time you need something or need a new one of these, just for getting this, that obviously becomes way too expensive. All of them, I should maybe add, are perfectly erasable with the very popular Mono Zero eraser. And all of them also place nicely with brushes. Makeup, I use makeup brushes. I bought a very, very cheap set with many, many brushes for makeup. This one is from a brand called Beaky. I grabbed two of the brushes, the smallest one and the one you see there. So I think what I default to when I draw charcoal is the Conté, because I can get those as a single very easily, and they play very well. They're not too brittle, they don't break or anything. They blend very well and they are very dark. So, and they play well with water. I guess all of them do. I only tested the Conté with water because I was lazy. But yeah, if you're looking to buy some charcoal, now at least you have kind of an insight as to how Cretacolor, Conté and Faber Castell behave.